Cabo Familia, how are we doing? So one of the first questions I usually get about real estate in Mexico is, can we finance a property? So this video is going to be dedicated to discussing 7 options that you can use to finance property in Mexico. Now, before I get into it, let me just explain that in the United States right now, you're going to have way better options. We've got historically low interest rates, but you have to think about it. On the flip side of that, that's really caused prices to skyrocket up. So let me get into some options for you to finance your real estate in Mexico, and just taking into consideration that a lot of these options are new. So I believe in the next 5 years, the next 10 years, this is only going to get easier and better and lower interest rates. So first off, let's discuss developer financing. If you've been following me, by the way, subscribe to the channel if you like this information. I'm going to continue to do weekly videos, but we really like the pre-construction model. And that's because in an area like Los Cabos, you have a lot of land and you have a lot of demand for people coming in that want new housing. So pre-construction is a great option. Developer financing usually, I would say, is 3 to 5 years. They generally are going to require 50% down. Here in Cabo, I've seen companies go as far as 10 years out. And generally, you're going to have anywhere from 5 to 7%. And just keep in mind, you're going to have 50% down. But this is a great option. And it's also a great way to monitor or figure out if this developer is solid, because a lot of these developers that are fly-by-night, they cannot get access to financing. So if you have a developer that's offering financing, it's a good sign. And if you have a developer that's had financing and no longer has financing, usually that's a bad sign. And I've seen that here in Cabo. So developer financing is really a great option. Number 2, we're going to talk about cross-border lending. And you have a lot of these companies. Really, the big one in Cabo is going to be Global Mortgage. They're going to offer 15, 20, and 25-year loans. And there's, no red flags with this company. There's going to be no surprises, but your interest rates are going to be a lot higher than you would find in the United States. We're talking 7 to 10%. As a matter of fact, the last property that I saw them underwrite, they were underwriting at 9%. So once again, this is, not the best option, but I believe that these rates are going to come down. That company is Global Mortgage, and they have other options too. You can cash out, refinance, things like this, because generally most people that come to Cabo are going to be buying cash. So this is a great option to be able to take cash out, or just put down generally 30 to 40% and then finance, like I said, 15, 20, 25 years. These are great options. It's going to be a fixed amount, a fixed loan amount, fixed interest rate, no balloon payments or none of that. A third option, you're going to have seller financing. Now, seller financing, I would say this is probably less than 5% of the market. However, it's not a bad option to have. The thing that I don't like about seller financing is if you're negotiating price with somebody and then you're going to ask for a perk, generally they're not going to give too much on the pricing on that, because they're already really throwing you a bone there. So I would say seller financing is a very small part of the market, but it's a good option. And generally the people that I've reached out to in regards to seller financing, once again, we're going to talk maybe 5, 10 years. Anything past that, I think it would be rare. And then fourth, you might be asking yourself, well, why can't we just go to a Mexican bank? And there's a couple reasons why that's not going to be a good idea. Number 1 is you don't have any credit here. Your credit history in the United States with FICO and all that is a completely different system down here. So you're not going to have any credit. Secondly, we're really looking at double-digit interest rates. So we're talking 10, 11, and 12%. So right off the bat, that cross-border lending company is going to be way more attractive. The only thing I will say about Mexican bank financing is generally citizens that do it, they can put as little as 10% down. But once again, your interest rates are going to be way higher, and that's just something that you typically find in Latin America. So I would definitely go for cross-border lending like Global Mortgage before I would even touch Mexican bank financing. It's just way too expensive. There's other options too. I would say number 5, you can have private financing. I've heard of people doing crowdfunding and things like that. And the last person I talked to that was doing crowdfunding actually got an option at 6%. So these are going to be private lenders, and once again, getting a 6% return on your money right now is a good option. So if you can find a private lender to give you maybe in that 5 to 6% range, you're playing with good money right there. So I would recommend trying to find private financing like that if you can. Another option, number 6, is going to be home equity line of credit. So a lot of people here in Cabo, they'll maybe they have their house pretty close to paid off. They'll take out a line of credit on the equity that they built on their home back in the United States, and then they can use that money to buy a property down here. So that is another option, taking out a HELOC on your property in the United States. And then last, you can really use, if you have a self-directed IRA, you can use those retirement monies to buy a piece of property here in Mexico. A lot of people don't know that's possible, and it's not necessarily the best option. I can definitely hook you up with somebody. I have a friend, Bernard, that does that, and he'd be willing to have a conversation with you. So these are really going to be your main options. You've got developer financing, which, to be honest, I think pre-construction is a great option, and I think that's your best option if you're going pre-construction. Cross-border lending like global mortgage, it's probably going to be looking anywhere from 7 to 10%. I do believe those rates will come down as more competition enters the market, but you can go 15, 20, 25 years. Seller financing, once again, probably not going to have the best terms, might be, maybe 5 years, but you never know. That depends on the person selling the house. So it really is a good option. At least you can ask the seller if they're willing to do that. Mexican bank financing, once again, not a good option. It's just going to be way too expensive. You're not going to have a credit history here. It's just not going to be a good option. Private funding, if you can find somebody that'd be willing to lend you money at maybe 5-6%, I think that's a good option. Home equity line of credit on your property in the United States, and then also using retirement monies. So those are really 7 options to use. And once again, I know people in the United States right now that are getting 3% loans on 30 or 20-year mortgage. So these are just so much lower. But like I said, the flip side of that is that if you look at part of the reason so many people are looking at real estate in Mexico is that, hey, they love it, but B, we're talking about really large price increases. So you got to take the good with the bad. So right now I think it's a great idea to buy real estate in Mexico. Those are going to be some options you have. If you have any more questions on that, feel free to reach out. I'd love to answer them, or hook you up and connect you with somebody that can help you in any of those areas. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.